Okay, good evening, everybody.
Good evening, moderator.
Yes, Moderator Hadley, that would be me. We've got an agenda in front of you, which includes a few items with it. And the first thing is the approval of the June 30th minutes. Has everyone had a chance to look at those?
Yep.
Yeah, it looks good. It looks, from my perspective, I'm not even on this because there's no H in my name. It's SCH.
Yep. Can't we change it?
We should just change it.
That's a minor change.
So you meant,
Easier for
okay.
everybody.
Okay, great, we'll fix it.
One of the
Hi,
others
neighbor.
is,
Yeah. Hi, Emma.
Hi, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Ladies.
Hi, Emmett.
Hi.
you don't have a chair up here?
Yeah.
Oh, you can sit up
Pull the
here.
chair
Oh,
up.
I'm good.
There's a chair over there. Be one of us.
Oh, you can sit with me.
Yeah.
It's a coveted spot.
All right, so shall we, all
One question here.
right, that,
It says, staff, send letter to abutters informing them
okay.
of the project.
Did you address that?
Is this gentleman a butter?
I did.
Yeah. Hi, how are you?
So I did
Good.
I had the time to do it.
10 days before the meeting, I sent that out.
And we got one of butter, so he must have gotten a letter. Great. We wanted you to know kind of where we're thinking, and we're still at the very beginning stages. But if you had any questions or so forth, please jump in anytime.
Who is this? Yeah, what's your name?
And what is your name, sir?
Thomas Rice.
What is it?
Yeah.
Thomas Rice.
Thomas
833
Rice.
Bell Street.
Great. So if, with no further ado, we'll go ahead and accept the minutes with a few corrections. Substituting C for
Just like 2 minutes.
the next item that I thought we should talk about, we had talked about current repairs for our current salt shed. And I guess we're looking for current repairs in the interim should we decide to move the shed. Emmett, do you have any more information on that? I know that you had done some exploring.
To fix the back wall,
Yeah, that's what I mean.
to fix the back wall, I mean, they didn't get back to me on the price of the 2x10s, and all that, but to replace the back wall back where it was, and it's been done once before, and why it keeps rotting out is there's no overhang on the back, and the water just comes down off the roof and rots it out. It's approximately, to put that back together, you're looking, it's gonna be all of $30,000 to do it, because you gotta hold the building up while you're doing the work, and, I mean, that. So, I guess what I've come up with, because by the sounds, I mean, some people want it to be there and some people don't, but I guess, I was gonna talk to Kevin about it, because we were gonna get together the other day, but we didn't cross paths on that. I guess the thing to do for now, and so people figure out what route they're gonna go, is we'll buy some waste blocks, and then the 2x2x6s, probably about 35 of them, and pile them up out back against the wall so it doesn't cave in, so because we need to get that thing filled up and get back to work. But still, by the time you buy them waste blocks, 35 of them they're well over 125, 130 bucks a piece now.
6 footers?
Yeah.
So if you get them down Coleman concrete, I think they're like 85 bucks.
Oh, good. So figure 100 bucks.
85 bucks.
Figure $100, so there's $3,500, and then you gotta get them trucked. then you gotta set them into place. So you're still looking at 10 grand before you're done.
Okay, so you're saying 10 grand to make it work temporarily, is what you're saying?
Does everybody know what a waste block is?
I have no idea. I don't even know how to spell it.
There's a picture of a, it's like,
Oh,
just.
so it's a
Because
solid.
I've
what
been-
you make
Because I've been
bumpers.
shopping and looking at different towns, as in previous discussion, right? So this is a salt shed built in one of the towns, but they use waste block, so that's an idea of what a waste block is. But then it's
Can you
not
spell that?
waste,
W-A-S-T-E.
Block.
Waste block.
B-L-O-C-K, it's just a
Got
concrete
the
block.
block.
How big are they?
2 by 2 by 6.
What are you doing? Stack them on each other or something?
Excellent.
Well, just get it so you,
These are
Yeah.
meant to talk, or we just talking?
And you can connect them
I mean,
together.
Hey,
you
do you have a
could-
comment?
you could, you could haul in some
Question?
clay, rocky stuff, but then with the river being so close, I just
We
didn't
don't
want
want
to
another
go that
problem.
route. The waste blocks aren't gonna,
Do that.
I mean, I don't,
Take your question?
Yeah, so if we go with the waste blocks to temporarily shore up the building, once we go to disassemble and remediate the site, then we can reposition those potentially at our new site, right? So,
Correct. We
I
could
mean,
use
that's
the-
something to think about. I mean, it's kind of a big price tag moving forward, but it's something that, moving forward, we could probably repurpose for another project. So it's probably not a bad solution to that problem.
Okay, thank you, Emmett. Addie, did you have information on a test well?
Yep,
Can we hear it?
we could do 2 test wells, 25 feet deep. They're gonna be about, it will be between 13 and 15,000 for 2 of them. And there'd be an engineer there when they drilled it, both of them. And he will come back and check them in 2 weeks after the well's put in, and then it will get tested 2 times.
Okay, for how long, Addie? Is that a year's?
Well, it could be upwards to a year, but that depends how fast you get them in and what you wanna do.
So you're saying 15,000 for 2 wells?
2 wells.
2 wells.
Yep.
And then, in addition to that, which I don't know if you have that, what is the monitoring cost?
That would all be somewhat pretty close to
In-
covering everything.
Yeah, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Great. Well, that would serve,
Knowing what you got going on.
it would certainly let you know what was going on, and it might
Right.
help if it was needing to be somewhere else. It might help with the remediation,
Yeah.
so that would be good. Hey,
So, the position of the 2 test wells, where would they be? And how?
I
did-
would say that that'd be up to the environmental engineer what he wants to do. I mean, you could drill them anywhere, as long as you get drill right there. But I would
Anywhere,
suspect.
where, are we talking the old site?
The
new
old site,
The old site?
the old site,
And you said 25 feet deep?
25 feet deep.
How did you determine that?
Because that's about basically what he told me, that he figured that, I told him the river was there, and he figured 25 feet should be ample enough to see what's going on.
Okay, and the purpose of the 2 wells would be,
To see what's going on with the site.
Thought we knew that.
okay, so,
No, we don't know that.
are we gonna have a discussion tonight about?
we're not making a decision on that tonight, we're just gathering information on the
Okay.
wells. So-
Yeah, because part of my task had a lot to do with getting information on monitoring wells, the cost and siting of wells and all that. I have a lot to present to the committee tonight about that, with my discussions with the Groundwater Drinking Water Bureau at DES.
Okay, all right. Why don't we continue on, and then we'll circle back.
Okay.
We had been asked at the last meeting to prepare an RFP for proposals for an engineer to do the site, and I guess before I get ahead of myself, the next item is brush hogging the area, and I talked to Emmett about that.
Yeah, and I've reached out to a couple of people and they wanted to look at it before they gave me a price. And, one of them thought maybe the stuff was a little bit too big and it would be more feasible
brush
to
hog,
just
yeah.
take a dozer and,
Get into it.
and to get it. So I'm working on that, but it was just Wednesday, Tuesday, I think.
We only just asked you, so I know.
When we talked, and, I haven't got you an answer that you want yet.
We had spoken last time about it would give us a good idea of what we're working with. Is that,
Correct.
okay.
See the lay of the, whoever went up there as the engineer, and they could see the lay of the land.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
From what I've seen on the site, I think a bulldozer would be needed.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not an expert, but there's a lot of big stuff in there that's been pushed around.
So back to the RFP, we had written the RFP, and certainly we'll take any suggestions you may have on it. But we're talking about site planning in the RFP. And there are some people on this committee that have expertise in certain things, so we try not to duplicate that. If you see something that you feel is duplicated, let us know, because we'd like to get that out. Craig, do you want to offer anything on the RFP? You and I kind of
The only thing I would suggest, well, let me back up a little bit. I think this is really important, mainly for the timeline. You know, you get, you put out a request for proposal now. You have a showing sometime, say, later this month, for any interested party. Go up, look at the site, answer questions, here's what we want, what can you help us? And some of the companies will say, you know, the project is too small, it's too big, or they don't have the staff to do it. So some of those companies gonna drop out. And you'll get a few proposals. But the way this thing's written, it says, interested firms are asked to submit a proposal by September 30th. Okay, right down the bottom of the sheet. So then we would have a couple months to look at the proposals, see how much they want to do the work, what they're capable of, answering questions, and there's some back and forth between, you know, we would, as a committee, and as the road agent would meet with them, go over everything, make sure they understood what we needed, ask questions of them. So then, maybe a month or so after that, you decide on which engineering firm you want. And then, hopefully, we can talk about the budget at that point, have a number. At least that's what I'm thinking.
That's kind of where I was.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Chris.
Was the template for this based upon the RFPs we've done for, say, the bridge and other work in town?
Partially, with the idea that some things that normally you'd put into it, you'd leave out because we had people that could do that.
Okay, that's,
It was kind of designed with the idea that for environmental type things, we'd be looking to pay for suggestions, and for actual site work and so forth, we'd be looking to Emmett. And I'm not trying to leave anyone out, but that's kind of where we came up with the template. John, did you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I think, I'm kind of sitting here keeping my mouth quiet, so I can hear what everybody has to say. Appreciate you asking. I'm in full agreement with Emmett getting that land cleared. we need to see what's there, we need to see what we're working with, and obviously when we have these people come in on the site proposal to take a look at it, it'd be much easier. And I think Emmett, not to speak for you, but I think Emmett would feel better being able to see what's there too. And that way he can give some advisory information to these people when they come in on what he'd like to see for work. I, in the past few weeks since we met, had a number of people approach me, and the favorite statement I hear is, what are you gonna do about the salt shed when you're gonna move it? And I've had seniors approach me on that too, not just young taxpayers, but
Could you
seniors.
talk a little louder?
I'll try.
I'm getting
Without
deaf, I
shouting
think.
at the others, I'll try, okay? My statement was, I've had people approach me, you know, I'm a pretty active guy, I'm out and about. I've had people approach me on this project, and people want to see us have some momentum. I'm going to make a statement, and it's not insulting to anybody sitting at this committee. A lot of very professional people sitting here, and citizens tonight. But we in Webster have a history of admiring a situation and not doing anything about it. We need to move this forward. And I'm just going to leave it there. I think you all get the point of what I'm saying. We need to get traction to this. You know, I appreciate you looking at those things to get some information from this engineering firm, whichever it might be, to get a number. We need to get a number for town meeting. That's what we're going to come up with. I'm not forgetting Addie. I think that's a pretty short number to put a couple of wells in. I think that's a pretty reasonable number. I think we've all heard what wells could cost us, much beyond that. I did do some talking with some people about digging test pits. They go down 15, 20 feet, so I think 20, I haven't just talked to one person, I've talked to several people. But I think 25 feet is a reasonable, in what I'm hearing. And that's a two-way street with that. I think we're gonna make a decision. You know, the town spoke about this back in March. And yes, it wasn't what some would call an official speaking of the public, but it was. Even though it was a straw poll, we had 80 people, 75, 80 people, I don't remember how many, but that's when I looked around the room, and every one of them was in favor of this project. But I also think if we put those wells in, it's gonna be able to tell us the other end of this expense, and what's it gonna cost to remediate too. So I think we need to think of both ends of that spectrum, and if we move forward, and I hope we are, and everybody's spoken to me is urging us to move forward. And what you might not have heard, Chris, is I had several seniors approach me.
I did hear the word seniors.
Okay, well, and we both can rise to that occasion. But with that being said, they said, you know, the favorite statement is, when are you guys gonna get that salt shed? You know, I think we've got the public behind us. And as I started out my statement, you know, I'm not saying or insulting anybody sitting at this table. We all have varied opinions on how we get there. But I think if we implement these things, the 19.5 or 14.5, whatever it was, to get those wells in. Getting Emmett to cut that piece of property out so we can see what we're looking at. Getting the engineering firm in. You know, we're all well within the budget of moving this forward. And getting it repaired, and I appreciate Emmett stepping out as he did, or whoever, this gentleman's name here, I'm sorry.
Kevin.
sir.
Kevin.
Working out to get that done. So I didn't want to pay $30,000 to repair that place, unless we were gonna make that a permanent site. So I think getting those concrete barriers up and doing that appropriately. So that's what I've got to say. I'm going to be supportive of moving forward. You know, but I do think we need to put those things in place that I mentioned. It satisfies the members of the committee. It gives spirit to what we're doing. It shows we're making progress, and I think we need to show that we're making progress. Okay? Thank you.
So on the RFP, and I know you've only had it for a few days, but is there anything that you feel should be added, subtracted, or changed?
I have a couple of things that, couple of comments. Under objectives, the consultant qualifications, I'd like to try to find a firm that's actually built a salt storage facility before, if possible. Make that a priority in our decision matrix, because a big part of this is gonna be the impermeable surface that needs to go under the storage facility. Has to be constructed in a very specific way to capture all of the runoff, because if this is done properly, there should be no runoff
So
from the
firm
salt.
with experience is what,
Right.
yeah.
Right, so that becomes a big issue in my mind.
Good point.
And also, it might be good to make a phone call to the guy, Scott, over at UNH, that I did all that liaison with, you know, the salt guru over there.
Yes.
He did have, some example RFPs that other towns have used.
Oh.
Maybe we could, ask him to look at this and see if there's anything we're missing. He does work for free for people that are doing this.
And the price is
So,
reasonable, I'd be glad to call him.
We could probably connect each other via email and maybe have you send the RFP to him on our behalf
Okay.
and say, please comment on it, and then we'll have some feedback from him, because there might be some things that we're missing.
I think you've given me his name, but would you just email me and?
Yeah,
so-
I'll
yeah,
email
thank you.
that to you.
Yeah.
And then I think we want to be, I know this is just for initial proposals and stuff, so I won't get into the minutia of the details of, you know, what your environmental specialist would actually need to be doing. I think, given the fact that I've already looked at the soils maps and I happen to be a wetlands specialist and all that, I don't necessarily need, I don't think we need a wetlands scientist for this project, because we're not gonna be impacting any wetlands. We'll probably, you know, do a soil pit test, which is very simple, rudimentary. They already have the soil map, so they're just gonna confirm what's already
Sure.
been mapped by the NRCS.
Are you
Um,
referring to anything that's in there that we should take out because of an overlap?
Not anything to take out, but, when the proposals come in, I wanna have clear understanding of what their specialists actually are certified to do, I guess.
I look at it
Yeah.
when we are ready to talk with people, they would come in and talk to the
Okay,
entire group, and
okay,
I think that would be a good time to get the information you need.
yeah, and, yeah, I was just gonna agree with John that I think it totally makes sense to have that thing brochured out of there before we march people up there and look around, so we can clear that front 8 to 10 acres, and, you know, just, we walked around up there, it was pretty rugged, so it'd just be, you know, we're gonna have to cut it anyway, so the sooner the better.
Make note that this request for proposal, it only concerns the site and the road. It doesn't concern the salt shed.
Say that again.
It does not concern the salt shed.
Well, it does in the sense that you're gonna be designing a very large impervious footprint on the
Yes.
site,
That is true.
which is gonna contain runoff, which is directly connected to stormwater
Yeah.
runoff, which is part of any site
Yeah.
assessment,
No,
so
You're absolutely right.
it has something to do with the building and the shape of the building and the configuration and the orientation, I get that,
You're
but it is
absolutely-
very much connected.
You're absolutely right about the runoff and the wetlands and everything else, but in
Yeah.
terms of the actual salt shed itself, my preference would be to put that off, not deal with it right now.
Put what part of it off?
Salt sheds.
What-
Oh, the salt shed
The
itself,
salt
yeah,
shed itself.
yeah, like the type of the building, the
Type of the
orientation.
building,
configuration.
construction materials, whatever. I mean, the engineering firm, I would hope, would give us some idea of what are good options for laying this thing out up on top. You know, given the site, what's been cleared, they're gonna give us some options of how to lay this thing out.
But how would they know how to lay this thing out if we didn't have a plan for what the salt shed would look like?
What the size of it.
Yeah, or the size
Yeah,
of
we're
it.
gonna have to have some sort of a
Well, we-
rough idea of definitely the
You
size.
have a rough idea of what you wanna do. correct?
Correct, I had it
So-
all on paper somewhere.
Yeah, so they could look at that and figure out exactly, roughly, where it would go, but you also got a plan on the future down the road for if you're gonna build this town shed also. Someday, it's gonna have to happen, and you're gonna have to lay that out with all your electrics and everything.
Yeah, in the
So,
electric.
down the road, you're not messed up.
Once the pole, I know that once, just to keep this in the back of your mind and whatever, and you can agree with me or not, but there's a pole with a transformer on the right-hand side where the driveway is gonna go up in. You put probably there'll be one pole on top and then one pole to the stone wall, and then from the stone wall, the rest of the way, wherever it has to go, around the highway garage or any, thing with dump trucks and bucket loaders, it will all have to be underground, to keep everyone safe. That's just something to think
Yeah.
about.
What
Yeah.
about burying it on the road, going up there?
Well, the road going up there that we started, you're talking about,
Yeah.
the pole's already better than 3/4 of the way back. So raise it up and then you could bury it from that pole the rest of the way. It's whatever, I mean, that's something just to think about.
Yeah, yeah,
But
just.
Yeah.
I know I got off track a little
No,
bit, but
no,
it's
it's okay.
something that,
I mean, it's good to think about this stuff.
And I think it is sort of covered a little bit in your number 6, expected deliverables. You know, they're gonna report the existing conditions. We pretty much know what's there, so I don't know what that's gonna tell us that we don't already know. Probably a soil test pit that'll confirm the NRCS maps. But it does include concept alternatives, design plans, cost estimate, technical specs. All of that would fall under the purview of what we're talking about. Obviously, design plans they're gonna design plans with the intention of, there might be a couple of buildings up there and some lighting and electric and all that.
I would think that the engineering company would work with us and Emmett regarding that. You know, I mean, they're not gonna pull that out of the air. They're gonna talk to us and say, what do you need? What are you
And,
thinking?
Well, once we get one engineering company, I'm just listening to everybody, I would assume, that's my word here, that we're engaged with that engineering company, as Addie and Emmett just pointed out, and some of the rest of you, to continue this project as we do down the road. That engineering company would be all as one if the project continues to be something additional to what we're doing, not just the salt shed. So, does that make sense to everybody?
it does make sense, but I would like to, I know we're all on the committee, but there's a man sitting at this table that's built more of these than the average person all through the state of New Hampshire. And I see he's,
KK.
and I see he's reading things over. And he hasn't said much yet. So,
Well, this is the first time I've seen any of this.
Oh,
I figured stuff would be shipped out by emails,
it was,
but I don't know if
maybe we don't have the proper email.
so I'm kind of taking all this in after everything.
Yeah, I just got this part of it, I didn't get this.
yeah, I
part
didn't
here.
see any of this on my desk.
Did
Susan
we
always
send
prints
it?
stuff off for me.
Oh,
I don't know if
okay.
So I guess overall, I think we all can agree that this is a good first start to go out with the understanding that when bids come back in, we'll have follow-up meetings with the appropriate people and the appropriate, expertise in the room to sit with our, the engineers and say, all right, this is what we're thinking. And, with that, I'm making a list of what we'll provide, an approximate building or buildings size, an approximate size of the area you need for storage of trucks, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that would be like a follow-up, that, not exactly a subcommittee, but probably a whole nother meeting or 2 or 3, once we have somebody on board, to make sure they know exactly what what we want them to design and the alternatives we want them to consider, and et cetera. Does that
then-
make sense?
And then the gentleman that put up our hoop house up on Allen Road, he has them buildings, Maine, Mass, Vermont. He just built one, when he left our place 2 or 3 years ago, he went to White River Junction and built one of them to unload the salt in that off the trains. He's put many of them up for, I don't know how many, I mean, that's what he does for a living. And I know the select board, back a couple of years ago, we were gonna get them lined up to come talk about that type of structure. And then we got off onto another path, so, that option is there. I can set that up if the committee wants to,
Is that your first choice?
no, but it's a good choice and it's affordable.
Yeah. I mean, you have one, a big one.
Well,
I think when we
let's-
come to that, I mean, we
Yeah.
have Kevin.
I
and we
was,
have
I was,
Emmett,
I
you
was,
know.
that, I was, what is that, 60 by 156 feet. And you can put the dump ball, I mean, it's, but that's one option out of 10.
So Chris, you, not to quote you as you quote me, but I'm going to, you and I had a discussion about that. And quite sincerely, I brought that, Emmett and I were having a discussion about it, and quite frankly, I think, my own vision of this is the cheapest and best we can get. And if he's comfortable in that type of building, because he's the person that's gonna be working in it,
I know.
it's,
Well, there-
you know, I don't know what, bear with me, I don't know what other people think here, and we have an expert sitting here, but if other communities have used that type of building, that to me would be, I mean, I've seen the building go up, I watched them build it, I've been in it. I mean, if that's something Emmett can work with, but you know, you asked about that, we kind of agreed that might be the appropriate building. I don't know.
You need it, this guy's,
Right.
yeah.
You like them, Kevin?
Which one are you referring to?
Be like a hoop house, like the big tent on Eminence. You guys doing a lot of that stuff?
That?
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the town of Hampstead.
yeah.
And I think that would probably come under concept alternatives, right, that this engineering person would be doing. We'd have design plans, we'd have concept alternatives, that would be one alternative of a building.
Company.
We'd have cost estimates associated with all of that, because once we have this, then we're gonna pick the alternative we want and the design we want, then that will go out to bid as the second part of it. So I think that's part of this whole thing, is that, you know, developing
So,
the different alternatives.
Craig, go ahead.
There's another aspect to this that I don't hear anybody talking about, and that's that there's some funding available. Part of this, I forgot, well, I can look it up. I'll look it up here. I have it. That funding is for wood industries, okay? So if you want money, it's gonna have to drive the design a little bit. Okay, you can, I mean, you can go out and buy a metal hoop house or whatever. You're not gonna get any money for that, I tell you that now.
This is the first we've heard of it, so keep going.
You mentioned it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I did, I mentioned it a couple
A
of times.
couple meetings ago, sorry.
Yeah, let me see here. Forest Economy Grant Program. And it's administered by the Northern, I mean, I can send you this info, you can look it up. There's a website with an application, and it tells you sort of what they're looking for, okay?
But then we'd also have to make sure that, you know, is a wood building what we really need or should have for a salt shed, given that we already are dealing with a wood building that's completely rotted out because we store salt in it. So that
so-
again, I think goes into this concept alternatives and design plans
Right.
that the engineer would say, okay, these are the concept alternatives that work for salt sheds, and here are a bunch of design plans you can consider for salt sheds, and here are the cost estimates to go along with it. That's what we're paying an engineer to do, is to do that background work for us, is to,
The point with this exercise is to get engineering firms in here to talk to you.
right.
And I'd like to send this out before Labor Day if possible.
Great. Well,
Good.
great.
Go ahead.
I think we should make a decision tonight about this RFP. And
Make a what?
make a decision tonight
Yeah.
about the RFP. Set a showing for sometime before the end of this month, where we answer questions, take them up on the site, say here's what we want.
So-
And then they have until September 30th, according to this, to submit their proposal. I mean, the timeline is, you know, as you said, you want to move on this, you got to move.
We do.
It's gonna take a minute to get that site ready.
Correct, because everybody's
That's not just
busy.
gonna
and
happen
right, that's
tomorrow.
not gonna happen tomorrow. That's
Yeah.
probably not even gonna happen within a month.
Yeah,
No matter who you
Yeah.
call or who you have, unless whatever, because there's a lot going on and everybody's busy. And another thing, you folks, we're talking salt shed, okay? There's gonna be 250 yards of salt in there at any given time, and 3,000 yards of sand. So that's a pimple on a big bull's behind, the salt, compared to the pile of sand that you're getting there. So you have to let the engineer know, I mean, you don't, how all that is gonna be laid out, correct, Kevin? Doesn't that make quite a difference?
Absolutely.
I mean, if you're gonna put, which I'm not against, because we're gonna do it, we need to do it right with whatever goes underneath there, underneath the cement and the tar, well, it'll be tar because anybody wouldn't use cement for their salt. They're gonna have to for the walls, but not for the floor. So, I mean, that's one bay of salt compared to 8 bays, 7 bays of sand, correct?
Absolutely.
So,
So are you suggesting that we beef up this section of the proposal to say that
or
specifically?
just when your engineer comes out, he's familiar, so we don't have to spend the money to do the whole thing, because we don't use any more salt today than we did when Addie was the road agent 30 years ago.
But it might make sense then to put that right in that section where you're describing the project and you know, how.
I mean, the
the
Does that
acres-
make sense, Peg?
Yeah, let's go back to number 2, where you're talking about.
Right.
Go to number 2, everybody, and, project site.
Project site's number 3.
Yes, I'm sorry, number 3, thank you, I
Yeah.
didn't have my glasses on. Yeah, let's expand what we're asking them to assist the permitting and support of with the bidding process as appropriate. So this is where,
Okay.
yeah, I was kind of making notes like, evaluate the site, develop a layout, prepare final plans. They wouldn't be final plans, they would be proposed
Well,
plans.
these are the minutes.
Yeah, so provide final plans would be changed to proposed plans,
Okay, got it.
okay?
That's in number 3.
Yeah.
Oh, project
And
site.
specifications for, and then describe exactly what you're talking about.
Right, lay out the size of the structure to hold the amount of yards of sand, and then
Specifications for, you know, what'd you say, 250
yards.
yards of salt plus how much sand?
Well, we,
Hang on.
Yeah.
That is currently today,
That is what?
right? That is your current 250, 300 tons of sand, of salt is what you keep.
Not at any one time,
Right, but that is the average, right?
at the end of the year.
Just remember, as the future goes, the public demand is insane.
Yeah, but,
You're gonna need more,
Yeah,
a
but-
little more than that, right?
Well-
I'm just, so the town of Sutton has built, have you seen this building?
I haven't, you told me to go and I haven't had time to get up there.
So back to a comment that somebody made about, I wanna be cheap and do this. If you build a wooden structure from the ground up and it's 100% wood, you are going to pay the consequences of that 30 to 40 years from now.
Well, I,
Hang on. You can build a wooden structure off of a concrete
Oh, yeah.
where no matter what you put in that building, sand, salt, it's going to rot out wood. As long as that material is not touching wood, that building will last a long, long time. When the material is touching the wood, it will rot it out because it's constant moisture. Okay? So, building a structure out of concrete, whether it's got a tarp on the, or a wooden structure above, you gotta have your concrete walls to match your capacity and not let the material touch the wood.
Right.
Period.
12-foot cement walls, 12-foot cement walls, and then build off in that.
So this is kind of solvability information that I think is important. And I didn't really think through the wood thing, and I didn't, but when I suggested building that, I'm just gonna say Emmett has on his property, doesn't mean that's what we're gonna build, but that building can be built, I'm aware, I think, it can be built on concrete, because I've seen one built on concrete. And the thinking I had, without thinking the depth of it, was that it didn't, I didn't consider the wood factor. I was envisioning this thing all in cement with canopy over it,
Yep, that is an
if that
option.
makes sense. And you showed a picture, I didn't see it, you don't need to show me right now, but one that you were involved in. So, I mean, that's, I think we're all kind of saying, in a way, each of us, we need to center in on what we really find acceptable and what will work. And when I look at this building down here, I mean, putting $30,000 in that is like me taking $100,000 out of my retirement, throwing it out the door out here for wood, if you follow what I'm saying. And putting those blocks in. So, I mean, it's a temporary thing, not permanent. But what I'm saying is that I think we really need to center in on what will work, what will fit in Webster's budget, and what can we build that won't bring us back to the table again 20, 30 years from now, or 10 or 15 years down the road, where it has to have repairs made to it. And I'm not pushing any person's business here, because I don't even know who built his building. But that building to me seems to be the most structurally sufficient for what we're trying to do, and movement in that building can be done very easily due to the canopy effect. And I'm just throwing that out there. I'm hearing what you're saying, and that's the kind of, what's the term I'm looking for? Centering in, for lack of a better term. Instead of having, oh, what are we gonna build? Center in on what we really think will work for Webster, with the developers and the engineers, and go down that road. I mean, you bring a very good point to it. I didn't think to the depth of that, quite sincerely, about the wood structure. I think it's nice if we could get a wood structure, but if it's gonna rot, or if we build the wood structure, where do we build that? Build it above the cement and go from there, you know what I'm saying?
So, guys,
Current salt, this current salt shed that we have down in the sand shed, salt shed combo, is not large enough
Right.
for the capacity that Emmett is.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
currently,
100%
So
correct.
we're already too small for
Right.
what we need.
We're already out of our
Half
shoes.
of his material is outside.
Yeah,
already.
no, that's
Right.
what I've said all along, without the knowledge you have.
Yep.
Okay, so I think if we expand this last sentence on the page here, under project site, go to that last, second paragraph. Second paragraph. The selected consultant will provide all professional services necessary to evaluate the site, develop site layout, prepare proposed plans and specifications for a building approximately X size by X size, Emmett, fill in the blank, plus X ton, plus that can store 200 to 300 plus tons of salt, in addition, however many yards of sand, and plans for equipment/truck storage and parking. So if we add that language to that, if we add that language to that,
Salt is sold by the
that's,
ton.
that statement,
Bought by the ton.
then what we're doing is being a little bit more specific, guiding our engineer to say, just give me plans and specs. They're gonna be like, well, what do you want? So approximate building size that can hold an approximate number of tons of salt, plus an approximate number of tons of sand, plus plans for the equipment, truck, storage, parking. Comma, and then assist with permitting and support municipality bidding, blah, 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 blah.
I think that's good.
Does
I
that
think-
sound reasonable?
I think it sounds very reasonable. The only change I would suggest is instead of specifying building size, specify square feet, because you can rearrange things in different areas.
Yeah.
I
and-
mean, just specifying the tonnage would be better than specifying building size.
Yeah, that's a good
Minor-
point, that's a
minor
good point, because the configuration can change, so they can, if we tell them approximately how much we want to store, they should be able to back calculate the square footage
Well,
for storing that.
well, that all depends. If you're gonna pile it with a sand piler, then, or if you can only get it so high in a building with a bucket loader, and then you can only, if your walls are so thick and so high, you can only push and pile so much against them before they start. There's a lot,
Creaking and cracking and falling.
there's a lot.
So that leads to the point of, you know, when the folks look at it, if we want to go up there and talk to them and walk with them, talk to them about what you're thinking, well, you know, everybody, and that'll give them a better idea. And again, if you turn to the next part of it, which is the section 6 there, page 3 of 3, they're going to develop concept alternative and design plans with an S, plans. So I would imagine any qualified engineering firm will come up with a couple of plans and a couple of alternatives for us to consider after we tell them, you know, what we're kind of looking for.
So you're saying you're gonna hire an engineer to design the building
No, this is the plans for the site. It has nothing to do with the building.
Okay.
It's the
site?
site and, you know, designing a site that will hold a building approximately the size you think it should be, with approximately the parking area you think you need for your trucks and your plows, and, you know, we gotta give them some idea of what we want,
Correct.
you know, based on the amount of equipment that we own, maybe some equipment that we might buy in the future, sand and salt we might get in the future with future growth.
Well, just for the
So we
record-
can always say, well, you know, maybe we add 10% to what the guys,
Just for the record, you
Design.
don't own any equipment now.
you know what I'm saying, the equipment that we use.
Someday
Semantics.
they might though.
Eventually though, we might, right? Because eventually it might be a town garage.
Yeah.
And eventually the town might do that, so we know the equipment that we use now, so it'd be good to have the,
Okay, a lot of good points, thank
all
you.
right.
MJ, did you have a comment?
My comment was just gonna be, I thought we were focusing on the RFP and we should make it as specific as possible, and she
Okay.
had the verbiage and everything, so I defer to her.
Right. So can you revise that for us, Dana, and then
Yes, I
shoot it
can.
out to us, and we'll, everybody promise to look at this RFP within the next 7 days, and any problems, bring it up to the group, or whatever, or any typos or anything else? Does that sound reasonable?
Absolutely
I
does.
think it does.
Timelines, deadlines. All right.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Good job
Tim,
with this,
did you
by the
have
way.
any comment as a neighbor?
Tom,
Tom, I'm sorry. Yeah.
I have concerns as a neighbor.
Okay.
Obviously. Obviously, the contaminated wells potential from that runoff. Like town of Chichester had,
Apparently it's not.
except for their wells with their newer salt shed. They had to pay for desalination plants, desalination filtration for each house, which was expensive. I think it was like $20,000 per. And, I mean, I got 2 wells on my property. There's, I don't know how many other houses nearby, but it's up on a hill. It's only gonna go one way, it's going downhill.
Right.
If any of that salt goes outside of the containment, which it's gonna happen. There's no containment, 100%. Even if you got brine tanks, it's still gonna have leakage. And I mean, the aquifer is just across the street. I mean, not even that far off, the stratified river aquifer of the river is only, I don't know, maybe 100 feet off that road. It's not very far across the street, so I mean, there's concern with that. Yeah, concern.
Right, okay, thank you. That will put that so in our things to think about.
I think we've touched on
I
a
think
lot
we
of
have
what-
too, but
a
it's.
lot
I
of
don't-
your concerns. We are aware of that, and everything you said has been good and valuable. Where is your house located, if I can ask?
Just to the left of the fire department, 833.
Left of the fire department?
That young man lives in the house that we bought the land off in the previously land.
You're the owner of that? Oh, that's
Okay.
great.
Fifield's old, I think it was Fifield's old house.
Fifield?
I think it was Fifield.
I don't think that makes sense. Who used to live in that?
Roy, did you have anything you wanted to say?
I apologize for being late. I am one of the senior citizens that spoke to John about what are we doing?
Great.
Because I was on the original committee with
Yeah.
you on
Yeah.
buying the property up above. I think you're doing a good job. My only suggestion is set up like a strategic plan, okay? That's where you're working on this RFP to get it out. You want the RFP out by such a date. You like your reply, idea for containment, or you're building the whole thing, but set dates. The salt shed's not gonna be moved within a year. We know that. But you set up a timeline. Our goal is 5 years from now, okay, or 10 years from now. I'm not saying put everything on hold until the last minute, but have specific dates. And I do like the way Peg came up with the thought on that RFP. Let the contractor or whoever's gonna be looking at this is how much we're gonna be storing. We're looking at it. Emmett brought up a good point. How is that gonna be loaded in there? Is it done with a loader or whatever it is? You put it down here and it shuffles it up above. You know, all of that stuff has to be given to the contractor, whoever's gonna design this, and then put in for 10 years down the road for the extra buildings possibly to the side. That's the whole thing. And I understand where he's coming from, where we might have runoff. Maybe down the road, if we do get this, there's a couple of wells down to monitor to see if things are seeping through,
Some very good points.
you know?
Can I
So-
step back a little bit? Something you said.
What?
No, nothing, something you said that gave me a.
Yeah, but, you know, we bought the property, it's gotta be moved. If you don't do it as a salt shed, you don't put a salt shed up there, please level it, put solar panels up there, so we can get a buck back.
Good point.
You might be able to squeeze in there next to it.
Might be able to.
Yeah. John?
I want to reapproach these wells that Abby's talking about. I think we need to get them in sooner than later.
Oh,
Okay,
Well, for two reasons. I want to know what's coming down that valley, and that allows us to know what we possibly need to look for in the future. And it's gonna measure remediation, what our expenses are gonna be there too. It's a two-way street. It's not all in one. And that's a short order, $16,000, and what do we got for a budget?
Well, we don't really have a budget per se. We have the amount in our account, which is $320,000.
I mean, we were talking $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 for those things here. And I think, can I ask you, I don't mean to put you on the spot, what are your thoughts on it? What are your feelings on
So, I work for DOT,
it? Okay?
okay, just so we're all clear, that's who I work for.
Yep.
And we build facilities, we move facilities
Mhm.
at times as things age throughout. So when we go to a location that we're either tearing everything down and starting over from scratch, that is what the first things we do is monitoring wells to see what damages may have been caused by poor past activities. And then we keep monitoring those wells forever, okay? Of course, the state has different entities that come help us do that, so it doesn't really cost us on, okay? But then we build our new facility to the standard that Peg has brought up from the guys.
Right, and I'm all for it.
Right. Non-pervious surfaces, there may be retention ponds, so it doesn't affect neighbors like he's concerned about, right? You can control the flow of runoff. So, but if we're going to move this or not move this, we should know what damages have been caused
What's already been done.
potentially by what we've done. So putting in a couple wells is pretty cheap money
I agree.
to understand what's going on all around.
Can I please contribute to this conversation
Go
at
ahead.
some point?
Go ahead, Peg.
Thank you. Okay, so I did a lot of the monitoring for the state when I worked for the DES, Water Quality, Wetlands Bureau. I monitored I-93 corridor for 15 years, twice a week for 15 years. Resident expert, okay? So, the reason the state monitors facilities like that after they move them is to document that over time there's water quality improvement depending on the site. Some take longer than others. And part of the reason they can do that is we have built-in staff that was 100% federally funded to do that under the Clean Water Act. So you have unlimited budget to do all this sampling for years and years. We've sampled down there for decades. Sampling's still going on. We're Webster. We don't have the Clean Water Act federal funding paying for this. So there's a couple of things to consider. I think it's pretty obvious that we're gonna move the salt shed. You know, the town has spoken that they want this done. We bought the property for this purpose. It's taken way too long. We're gonna get her done. So one of the things after our last meeting you asked me to do was contact my compadres at the state, and Matt, who sat on the wall on the other side from where I sit, is the data guru. He collects all the data from every sampling site in the entire state and compiles it in the environmental monitoring database. I have all the monitoring data for the wells that were there, for the river. I have 400 pages of Excel sheets of data that go back, you know, to like the 90s. We don't have to go back that far. So I'm working on distilling this data down. And the bottom line is if we move this salt shed, the state isn't telling us to move this. There's no mandate for us to sample anything over there. They're not gonna make us do it, because they're not making us move it. If they were making us move it, they would actually be probably doing the sampling themselves, because it would be a mandate. And someone like me, the person who does my job now, would be doing that sampling. So they're not making us move it. So we don't have to sample there. We're not gonna be required to sample after we restore that site. Let me put it to you that way. There's no requirement for it. The other thing is we have decades of data that show what's going on in the aquifer. The aquifer isn't gonna change in the next year. It's probably not gonna change much in the next 15 to 25 to maybe 25 to 50 years. It might be sooner, depending on some other things that might be controllable, like this green snow crow thing I'm gonna talk about in a minute. But to give you an idea, this is one of the last tests for the chloride. This is what we're talking about, drinking water. The biggest impact is the drinking water in the elementary school, right? Nobody's gonna drill a well at the old salt shed and start drinking that water, right? Nobody's got a plan for that. We're not gonna do that. So what do we care what the chloride is at an old site? We care what the chloride is in the school. Well, guess what? It's the same aquifer. It's sitting on the same blue bubble. It's like 500 feet away. Their water is your test well. It's basically there. Take the water out of the sink. It's coming from the aquifer, okay? So the drinking water standard for chloride is 4 milligrams per liter. 4. This one dated, what was the date? I got my glasses. 830 milligrams per liter in the school is the chloride right now. So
As of this day,
as of the date of
what's the date you have there?
September 4th, 2025. This is what she just handed me. But I have reams
And that's an
and,
official,
yeah, this is
I'm just
from.
asking, just asking.
Yeah. Report of analysis, Nelson Analytical Lab, okay? And all of my data is coming from the state of New Hampshire.
Well, it's the first
lab.
time I've seen that, so.
Yeah, this is, the school hires Nelson Analytical to test the water. They're required to, because they also test for lead and barium and, you name it, mercury, everything. It's because it's public water
So you're
supply.
answering my concern by saying that the aquifer is one and the same. If we put these wells in, we're gonna get the same result.
Yeah, because
I'm just
the
asking.
well is tapped into the aquifer that's there. So you're gonna get the same result. So if you're gonna spend $13,000 or $15,000 to put 2 wells 500 feet away, and you're tapping into the same aquifer, I don't know what you're spending money on. So what I did was I had a conversation with the people at the Groundwater Drinking Water Bureau about that exact thing. I talked to the administrator and one of the permitting folks there, and so they basically said, well, why are you considering putting a well that's like 500,000 feet away in the same aquifer if you already have test results from the school? And I said, well, there's some people on the committee that think that'll give us some good information. And they're like, well, it's the same aquifer. So that's what I'm trying to tell you.
These are the people at the state telling me.
Yeah, I'm talking the administrator of the
Okay,
drinking water.
Bear with me, I'm just trying
Yeah.
to work through this.
The administrator of the Groundwater Drinking Water Bureau for the state of New Hampshire. The administrator,
Okay.
okay?
But this is the first time I've heard this information.
Yeah, and, the
So
maps
maybe-
speak for themselves.
Give me a moment.
Yeah, so the maps speak for themselves, here's the aquifer. And the same aquifer is under this building right now, so you could test this water, you're probably gonna get the same chloride. So anyways, when I'm looking at this data, and I still have a lot of work to do on this data, because it's hundreds of pages of data that goes way back in history, and I got everything, not only chloride, I got everything. So I've gotta distill this down, this is probably gonna take me several weeks to do. Then I'll try to compile it in a really easy way where I can just make a table or a chart and distill it down to 1 or 2 pages. But the bottom line is that I don't particularly, as a water quality specialist, understand why we would spend a penny on test wells at an old site that we're gonna remediate anyway, that no one's gonna drink the water from, when we have the school there already. So that's my first point, is I really, really want to put a moratorium on the thought of spending any money on a well unless somebody can prove to me what we're gonna show that we don't already know. Okay? And again, I'm gonna distill the data down so that you guys can see it and you don't have to take my word for it, because I don't want you to take my word for it. I'll compile it for you. So that's number one. And even the people at the state are like, why would you do that? That makes no sense. So that's number one. And then number two, to your point on the future site, absolutely we would put monitoring wells at that site. That's part of what our engineer should be putting in the specs, like where that monitoring would be, where those monitoring wells should be, and the frequency and duration. And that's the other thing about monitoring. I know whoever you spoke to said, they'd monitor a couple of times and whatever. That's not how salt works. We monitored all year round. We had monitors out on I-93 that took readings every 15 minutes for decades. And then we would go to certain sites and do it once a week, others we would do every other week, some we would do once a month, depending on proximity, and a whole bunch of decision matrix things. But, you know, my point is that some of the high spikes that we got, actually, it would spike higher in the summer months than it would in the winter months. So you don't go out and take 2 samples of anything and have any kind of results at all. So that I'm a little suspect of as well. So I guess my point is this. If you guys can give me a little bit more time, I will distill the data down, and hopefully maybe for our next meeting or the meeting after, I'll have something that I can compile all this so you can see it for yourselves. I'll send you the raw data right now if you want it. I'll give you what Matt gave me, and you're gonna go, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna distill it all down, but I'll have all the background stuff so you can check my work. I'll build it right off the same sheet so you can see what I did, where I pulled the data from. Because I think that'll be helpful for this group. But again, you know, we've got drinking water that is orders of magnitude, hundreds of orders of magnitude above the drinking water standard that we know is in there. So I think we know what we got, okay? So that's my passionate plea for, again, if we're gonna spend money, you better prove to me why we're spending it. And I'm gonna prove to you why we don't need to through data.
Prior to me making a statement, we knew none of this. Okay?
Right.
Bear with me. Now we know. Why don't you put the report together? Probably, I'm not saying this to downplay anybody's intelligence, but I'm not a water hydrologist. What do we call it? Hydrologist? Or I can't pronounce it.
Hydrogeologist.
Thank you. Or an engineer.
Yeah, water
So
quality
I think it needs
engineer.
to be simplified so we can understand, probably some diagramming.
Mhm.
All right, I'm not trying to tell you how to do this here. But I didn't know any of this until you just told me this. So
Yeah.
I know we've talked about it, but nobody's brought data up like you just popped up with it.
And I just got this data compiled. It took a while for Matt to compile it. And I just got it about 3 weeks ago.
Who's Matt? I'm sorry.
Matt Wood, and he runs the Environmental Monitoring Database for the
DES?
state of New Hampshire.
DES?
Oh, yeah, you can email him and tell
No,
him
I don't.
what you want,
Take
and
your
he
word
will
for it.
compile it and send you reams of data, but it's,
I don't want reams of data. I
yeah,
just want-
right, so,
How were the new houses, their wells, when they put the wells in for these brand-new homes, just a little ways from the school? Those wells, are they having issues, the people that drilled the new wells?
I did not pull any private well
Yeah.
data. I only pulled data from the sampling locations on the Blackwater River. I pulled data, the old
Where are you
data.
getting the samples there?
I can send you a whole map of all this, and again, let me,
I'm not arguing
Yeah.
with you of it, but it's like when the schoolyard is basically the only well that really has any issues with salt.
Mm-hmm.
And that salt gets out back of the school, that school itself gets salted heavy. And it has for 30 years plus.
Mm-hmm.
And some of that could possibly be from that.
I'm sure it is, and that
Okay,
brings up
so
my other.
That's why I think we need to drill a couple test wells over here, so
I
we
disagree.
can
The
tell
end.
Roy
I'm
that,
not-
hey, these wells are showing whatever, you know?
All right, I respectfully disagree with you, Addie, and I'm gonna put
That's
my
fine.
data together, and I'll
Put it
present it to you
together.
at the next meeting. So the other thing I wanna talk about, and you asked me to do this for you, John, was to get information on what's called the Green Snow Pro program. for-
Yeah, and can I,
Yeah.
and I didn't bring this up tonight, but I happened to sit in, and this is, please don't everybody jump on me, this happens to be a learning experience here. I happened to be sitting down with Roy, down on Lake Ave, and the people down there were talking about, or they brought a gentleman in, it might be one and the same, I forget the gentleman's name.
I don't.
Somebody from DES, very knowledgeable fellow, lives in town, Dana, his wife is on one of the.
Steve Landry?
Yeah, yeah.
Steve.
Oh,
I know Steve Landry, I worked with
Okay,
him
there-
for 20 years.
let me-
Yep.
give me a moment.
Yep,
He made a very, very good presentation, and he talked about, and I haven't had a chance to talk to Emmett about it, so I don't go beyond Emmett without talking to Emmett when I'm gonna ask a question about something he does or doesn't do. And maybe I did mention it to you, so what's the liquid they put on the roads? What's that called?
Brine.
Brine.
Don't use it.
Okay, well,
Lots of,
why, can I ask you, I hadn't had a chance to, can I ask you publicly why we don't use it? Is there a reason we don't use it for? I don't, I'm just asking. He was a big proponent of brine, and that's what his, not me, that's what his discussion was, and given his expertise, I listened very well. Did you remember that part? I'm not trying to pull you in, but.
Now, that's the brine that comes all out of the tanks, and you have to be all set up when you guys
Yeah,
buy
you
your
gotta be certified
own.
and all that,
When you
yeah.
guys buy your own $300,000 trucks, you can set them all up
Well, that
for
was why I wanted to
Yeah,
discuss it.
you do
I-
need a special truck
Yeah.
for the
I
brines,
didn't know
it's
the-
expensive.
the expertise.
The ones that the DOT got, they got federal grants for them for the I-93
you
project.
do not need special trucks. You can put saddle tanks on the side of a spreader.
You gotta, well, you gotta
And it will-
retrofit your trucks.
It will pre-wet it as it comes in.
Yeah, you gotta retrofit
Hence
your
why I didn't
trucks.
want to jump down that rabbit hole tonight.
Yeah.
I hadn't had a chance to speak with him. But, I'm sorry, go
So
where you
again,
were.
so Aubrey Volker, who works for Steve Landry.
Mhm.
Steve Landry is the
Very, very,
supervisor of the Watershed Assistance Group, okay?
very educated
Aubrey
gentleman.
Volker works for Steve. Aubrey Volker is the coordinator of the salt reduction program. She is the one that will come to the town and do a presentation about Green Snow
And I
Pro.
did ask you about this.
Yep, everything about it. I have her phone number, I have her email. The selectmen can, and I'll give this to you, Dana, so
Yeah,
you can
thank
forward it to the selectmen, and I have her phone number. I've talked to her already a dozen times about everything we're doing here. She's happy to do a presentation. What might be helpful is if the town of Webster would ask the school board to require them to use a Green Snow Pro applicator for the school. Okay, and what the Green Snow Pro program does is it covers the people that are certified to do that from liability. In other words, they know exactly how much sand to throw down to melt the ice, and no more, no less. It's the right amount. And so if someone claims they slipped and fell because they didn't put enough down, there's literally statutes that protect them from being sued. And that's what our bureau helped Steve and company wrote this legislation and got it passed and created the Green Snow Pro program so that we can do salt reduction in our state. So there's hundreds of applicators out there now that have this certification. And if, and that's something to consider, the town can consider. And all of this research is Scott Kinman's research, the guy at UNH, who is the specialist that I've also been in contact with. He's another guy that's willing to come to a town and talk to us about anything at any time and what we're doing. They do all of the stormwater research right there at UNH, and it's cutting edge, leading the nation in their research. People all over New England are using the research that's coming out of UNH right now. It's all over Maine, it's in Vermont. This is cutting edge. It's the best of the best of the best. This is the best environmental engineering, and it's right in our backyard. This guy works for free. Aubrey works for free. They will all come and educate you way better than I can. I'm like secondary giving you guys the information. But that would be something that we might want to consider as a town, because if Addie's right and the problem is the school and we're putting down too much salt, well, let's get a Green Snow Pro down there, and at least from here forward, we can start reducing that load. And this is what they specialize in, so it's just something to consider. And most of the Green Snow Pro folks, they want this work. They get paid well for it, and ultimately, a lot of towns that are doing this and companies that are doing this, they're saving money because they're not putting down more salt than they need to, and salt is expensive.
Since the last meeting we have had, and when we had that presentation, the gentleman I mentioned that was giving that presentation, mentioned it does save the community money.
Huge.
And half of, my reason is I wanted to be educated. It just so happens, he gave a very good, very short, but very quick, down dirty presentation. But I'd like to hear more about it. I think the board members and maybe
So I honestly think it's 7:45. When we started these meetings, they were gonna go for an hour. I still got chores to do. And I'm all with Peg. with what she's talking about, the Green Pro stuff. That has nothing to do with what we're doing, we got way off track. So, I'm gonna go feed my cows. And the salt, if we use that much salt in town, this lady wouldn't call me every spring and ask me how come there's 1.5 inches of sand out on her road and when am I gonna come sweep it? Because we do use salt. A handful of salt goes into the dirt, onto the tarred roads, so it doesn't freeze in the sander body. But that's when you get to Bosquen, the roads are black. You get to Concord, the roads are black. It takes 3 or 4 days and let the sun make them black in Webster, so.
In your schoolyards, black.
Well, that's because
They don't want the sand,
They,
so you gotta
they,
take that
they
up
lug
with
that
that.
stuff out by the bag full.
Yeah.
I think we accomplished what we wanted to tonight.
Yeah, so let's get some agenda
and-
items for our next meeting. Could we do that?
Next meeting, you're going to be bringing us figures, data from what you were just talking about.
Yes.
You're gonna have sort of a report for us.
I'm gonna compile the monitoring data, the chloride monitoring data. And I'll have that for the next meeting.
Okay.
And I'm gonna provide, you the names, phone numbers, and emails to the guy at UNH and the Green Snow Pro person that you can forward the Green Snow Pro information to the selectmen. They can do with that what they will. And then, I'll forward you Scott Kinman, the technical specialist instructor at UNH, the Technology Transfer Center there, in case we wanna consider to have him come talk to us as well.
Addie?
The first thing we need to do, if we're gonna do it, is get the site so people can go up there and see what's going on. That's number one. Other words, we're just wasting time.
I'll be going to my bosses on Monday and we'll
Okay.
talk about that.
Yeah.
And get an okay to do
Yep.
that.
Bulldozer, big one.
A big bolt.
Yep.
You're talking about the site clearing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's first and
That's
foremost.
definitely what we gotta do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to prioritize that.
So I'll pull my request back, Peg, on the wells, because
Thank you.
I wanna hear your report, okay?
Thank you very much, John, I appreciate you.
Remember though, if we can
Yes.
in with a bulldozer and strip that land.
Is the town hall and next doors, the next couple homes over on the same aquifer as what the school is?
I'll give you the
No,
map.
just,
It's a good
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
okay,
Short
have
answer.
we had our water tested here lately in the past couple of
We had it
years?
done 5 years ago.
What was the salt content then?
I don't remember, but it was drinkable.
It
It's
was
probably-
drinkable. I know for a fact, one of the houses down on this side of the road, because I had to do an inspection in there, and I required them to have a water test done within 60 days of my inspection, no sodium. Not a problem.
Yeah, I think they're, you can see it, I think they're outside the aquifer.
Just outside the
Right, just outside the
aquifer?
I have it right
Okay,
here.
so the aquifer's on that side of
It
127.
whips around here and goes
Thanks,
across the
Addie.
street.
Okay,
I'll give you this,
Can we
Oh,
set
I got
up
plenty
next
of
meeting?
okay.
Yes.
So I
Next
was just
meeting
wondering,
date.
you know, why
Next
are we
meeting date,
clear?
yep. Yeah, yeah,
And then,
When
Get
is
the
the
attendance
next meeting?
list.
we're,
Russ has
we're
it.
doing that. Next
Yeah,
meeting
so you
date?
get in contact.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's not make it too far in advance.
Right. I'd give it a couple weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks would be great.
2
But,
weeks?
Can you get your work done in that time?
I'll just get it done, I have no choice, right?
Is it,
So,
is there any way you as a health officer can maybe look at that a little bit more, see if any of those wells are affected, or, I mean,
Are we
I can
going
stop
back
by
to
and ask 'em.
Tuesdays?
What's that?
Are we going
the
back
easy,
to
the easy,
Tuesdays?
When do
easiest
you
thing,
want to
right?
have
Yeah.
this?
September 1st?
I can stop by and ask
Can we
them.
please go, one,
Without,
Well, there's a meeting
Is it
already on
3 or
September
is it
1st.
2, 3.
3?
Tuesday, September 1st?
It's already a
You
meeting
don't
with the planning
have
board.
sodium in your well right now, do you?
The room's not
But you can't.
available.
how about Thursday, Peg? Can you do it Thursday?
Thursday, September 3rd.
You can, I will not be there.
Wednesday, September 2nd.
I won't be there either.
Well, the heck with you.
Yeah, not that you need me, but
Mondays are no good. All right, do we want to?
You wanna go to the 26th, is that too soon for you?
The 20, yeah. Wednesday, the 26th. Wednesdays isn't good for Emmett Fire.
Yep, that's his fire meeting, that's a fire meeting,
And we said the 27th, no?
Is that Thursday? Why not, if everybody can do it?
Thursday, the 27th?
I may or may not be able to be there. I have another thing not to look at.
Oh my God, 2 weeks. Okay, I know what I'm doing for the next 2 weeks.
And I think what's important is that report comprehensively convincing, you know what I'm
So,
saying?
would you rather have more time?
Yeah, is it realistic that you
No,
can
I'll get it done.
in
I'll get it done. I feel like
Are you
I feel like I'm back at work with the state. Yep. No,
September?
I'll get it done.
No, I'll be here, but
Yes.
So you can do that.
the other days
Is
I'll be getting
September
ready.
See if this children has any messages listed.
You can look-
He said there was something going on
Yeah.
September
Is
3rd.
September 3rd not good?
I'm sorry, I won't be here.
You're on vacation.
Yeah, well, no,
Or you're out?
I'm having a medical issue thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
none of my business, none of my business.
You can plan your medical
He's gonna sit on
issues.
my couch and tell me his
His
problems.
lobotomy is
Yeah.
right after
I
mine.
have so many.
What date are we looking
Yeah,
at?
what
The
day?
27th.
27th?
27.
Thursday, the 27th. And you know what? I'm gonna do my best to compile this data the best I can. If it's not perfect, it's gonna be what it is.
Do you have a problem with Roy kind of asking those other people in those homes, and we get 2 or 3 homes now?
Absolutely not. The more data, the better. And a lot of the homes that are on this side of the road are not on the aquifer.
Right.
Okay, so, you know, if you're
Oh,
looking,
you're talking in 2 weeks, the next meeting.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Are we ta-
I mean, here's the blip that we're sitting on, and here's the road. So all of these people are outside the aquifer. That's the blue.
That might be
The blue's
Tom.
on that side of the road.
Tom,
I'm outside the aquifer at the moment.
you are.
This is
I
us
mean,
right here.
it's not like the
This
hard
is
line.
our,
Yeah.
there's the
Area.
school. See the
Yeah.
loop?
Yeah.
Aquifer.
And then it goes across. So you probably test this lot right here.
I won't be
This
there
lot
then,
and this
but,
lot?
you know, I'm in
They're
Maine.
outside the
Have you
aquifer.
had
The
your
aquifer
wells
goes this way.
Yep.
It's a stratified drift out
Acidic
that follows the
no
river.
sodium, yeah.
Okay.
It's acidic water, but no sodium.
Right here.
Okay. And then, next door
And
neighbor.
this lot is, there's nothing in there because it's a wetland, so it has to be this odd-shaped long lot right here.
Well, I would love
They're
if we could be able
outside
to
the
pull the results
aquifer.
from our well, it was on the side of the building, and somebody took it
Because this
off.
aquifer goes all under David
I think I'm
Cushing's
done
property.
Yeah, it's not on this side of the road.
I think we all kind of are, right?
It's really, other than town hall,
Thursday.
it's not on this side of,
Yeah.
and the people right next door up there are on it.
So that's two sets right there.
Right, you got
Okay.
it. That's two
Okay,
sets.
because I know that they're clear.
Puts all sorts of.
Okay, and then Creighton's.
Yes.
Okay. So what I'll do, I'll take a walk down.
Well, you won't need me
and-
anyway.
Can I have that one?
Yeah, you
Or
can.
one of them?
Yeah.
I'll take a, I'll go down and ask some questions.
I think everybody on this side of the road is probably gonna be okay.
Yeah.
The folks on the other side of the road, maybe, maybe not,
That-
depends.
that's-
But it wouldn't surprise me at all that the school is the big problem because it's got a parking lot. No different than
I do
Londonderry.
it two ways.
You test all the houses, there's a lot of houses along 93 that are fine. The houses that are right next to all those shopping malls,
Yep.
for the
We get it.
love of
I
God,
know you do, yeah.
you think 830's bad? We would get 1,500,
Yeah.
1,400,
Oh.
1,600, like
That's
ridiculous.
That's the guy that I
Or
met.
calls.
Saltier than the salt marshes.
We're gonna have an incident.
So it depends on where you
I did ask Steve Landry,
So you do not.
okay? I asked him, instead of doing a well, digging a couple of,
I've noticed that you're right.
with an excavator, dig down.
So it
Can you
creates.
get samples, if you can go down 15, 20 feet, can you check the salt content?
Yep, yep.
And the suggestion was, is put some type of a dye
These roads.
Line work?
around the area, see if it seeps down, and a year later, you check to see if it's gone down into the
So
ground,
that's the big one.
instead of doing
$2,000
wells.
tanks per grad.
But again, we're gonna remediate it, nobody's gonna
If
live
it's
there,
in there, yeah.
we're never gonna build a house there as well. Why do we care? We don't care.
No, I don't.
Why do you care?
I mean,
Thank you for coming, Tom.
You know it's already bad, so it's just time wasted, money wasted.
As the guy that calibrates every one of our trucks.
I said, hey, just get ready to put the noose on.
Everything.